Welcome back, friends, to the shop. In today's video, we're going to turn this RotoPax into this. As is typically the case, you know, when you're designing something, putting something together, you have these ideas in your mind and you're thinking, that's going to be perfect, right? And then you get out and use it and then you find out that it's not. So, as you saw from the previous video, we've really been enjoying this. I turned this box into our kitchen box with a drop-down drawer, so kind of an outside kitchen, and we've been using it all the time, really enjoying it. So one thing that when I was planning this was, it'd be nice to have some potable water. So when you're cooking, you know, really quickly that you can get some water for cooking or cleaning or whatever you want. And so my idea was to use these big 5-gallon or 6-gallon Walmart cans. And what I've found with them is that they're not very high quality, and I thought that they would fit in here, and they don't fit. So what I end up having to do is to put them in here with the bungee, and being they're 6 gallons, they're really heavy. I mean, they're kind of, and it's kind of high. It's just awkward to work with. It's not very handy, and so when you deploy the kitchen, right, you have to, you know, turn the valve on, and you have to kind of balance this on here, and it flips. You can see it's not very good, right? So I'm looking for a better solution. So out with these. We'll use those for freshwater storage in the larder. I ordered a RotoPax. So this is a 2-gallon, and if this works, I'm going to order a second and put 2 of these on there because they're stackable. So here's what was my idea. So I mounted the base right here, and I got a locking one. I'll show you that here in a minute. The idea was to leave it here like this and find some sort of a valve, right? And then when we get to where we're going, we can flip it upside down, and now you're cooking, and you have, you know, you need some water, for example. How nice would it be, you know, to come over here and then, you know, turn a valve and fill up your water. That was the idea. So I'm going to show you what I put together, or what I found. I was really scratching my head trying to figure out how in the world can how do you mount a valve to like this type of a setup, right? I mean, I guess you could drill a hole in the side of it and do a bulkhead fitting, and that's not ideal. And I mean, I was just at a loss. I'm like, how in the, I don't know of anything that would match up that thread. Well, fortunately, some very clever guy, he's selling these things on Amazon, has machined the whole setup for you. So it makes it very simple. It's very, very clever. So check this out. So this is the factory spout, right? So you're going to reuse the O-ring, or the seal here, right? And this is a beautiful piece, isn't it? I balked at the price when I saw it for the whole valve assembly. You know, for the RotoPax, it was $24. Like, good grief, that's expensive for some plastic. Completely missing the point that there was a beautifully machined piece of stainless steel here for this. I think it's totally worth it. So here's what you do. So you use the existing seal on there, right? That goes in here. Now you have basically a threaded female adapter. Put the factory cap back on, lock that down, and now you have a seal just like you would with a normal spout. Here, we can thread things in, right? So in the kit, they've provided here a little 45, a little hub spigot 45 there. So that goes on there to compensate for the 45-degree angle. And then a really nice little valve, little self-venting valve that threads in there. So now what you have is you've got a pretty good system there with a high quality, you know, components and parts that's most likely not going to leak on you. Hopefully. We'll put it together. We'll see here. It's important we put this together in a way where it's not going to leak. Make sure you use your soft jaws there. If you don't have soft jaws for your vise, just cut a couple pieces of plywood. And we want to Teflon, of course, Teflon this because it could be in the upside down position, you know, if you're camping for a while, for a long time, you don't want to have to keep turning it over because it drips. This 90 that came with this is schedule 80, so it's a good heavy duty piece. My experience with this plastic stuff on something that's just has almost no pressure in it, you know, if you're reasonably strong, you don't need to put a tool on it. Putting a tool on it's going to mar it, and I've rarely not been able to get it to seal when you can just tighten it as tight as you can by hand. That'll typically work. You can always tighten it more if it leaks a little bit, but that should be good right there. Here's the valve. We probably don't need to Teflon that because we've got a good heavy-duty rubber seal right there. I like this valve. You can see it's transparent there. You can see that this is the on position right there. It's got its own vent right there, which are, we'll see how that works. Those are, well, we don't necessarily want water to come out all that fast. So as long as it comes out, that's just fine. So that is a flat seat on there, so that should seal. We got these nice, I like this valve. I've never seen a valve like this before. It's got these wing nuts on there, and we can tighten that up. Again, don't over tighten the stuff. You can see it is just plastic. And then this rotates freely, so we can, yeah, that's a nice valve. And now we get to do it a second time because I'm dumb and I didn't put the cap on there. Good grief. All right, that's why I do these videos here, so you guys you can do it right the first time. Let's put some water in that so we can test it. Make sure it doesn't leak. This is if I didn't mention, this is a 2-gallon can. And if this works good, I think I'll order a second one, the vent, and stack 2 together. So that'll give 4 gallons. And then when the 2 gallons is exhausted, I'll just put the valve on the other one and use it. Now we're cooking. All right, let's go put the lock on. I should probably show you how the lock works. So this is just the basic one that screws on there. It's got the indentation for if it's in the nipple on the can. And this is the locking one. So this just has a barrel cylinder. I know you can't do a video with a barrel cylinder before someone tells you, you can open those with a ballpoint pen. Some you can, some you can't. But I mean, it's not Fort Knox here. It's just keeping honest men honest. So there's the barrel, so that will go in there, and that will keep someone from just spinning this off and taking it, I guess is the theory. When not in use, my idea is to store the can like this. Of course, with the valve up, we're much less likely for it to leak. And these locking ones work completely different. So do you see this? It's got a square cut in it right there. And of course, I used anti-seize on it. Now the anti-seize is going to get all over everything. All right, so here's how it works. There's dimples on there. You can probably see those. So this one just free floats. So you just hold that there. You screw that in there until that dimple lines up, right? Now that drives that square piece inside the hole, and then we can clamp those down. Once that's in, then we can install the barrel, and that it's not going to spin out. Yeah, someone could put a wrench on there. I understand all of that, but it's just going to keep someone from walking away with it, right? So I think that's probably a good idea. So when we want to use it, it's kind of inconvenient. I guess, I think I'll probably just take the barrel out, if we're in a place where I'm not worried about it, because it's just kind of an inconvenience to have your keys on you all the time. You spin this out, right? Turn that this way, and then deploy potable water supply this way here. And this valve just freely spins, so you don't have to, you can orient it. I had it the other way, just this way, so you didn't get dust and stuff in there when you're traveling, and then you could just spin that around there. So is that, where's off? Okay, so it's off. 3 positions are off, and only one position's on there. Now when I need water to cook with, or potable water, I have it right here on the valve. It vents okay, fast as I need it to come out. And then there you go. Everything looks good here. I've had it upside down here for 15 minutes or so. I got no leaks. Yeah, I think that's a good system. It looks like a good high quality valve, even though it's plastic. I think it's a good one. When we're done cooking and we're ready to go, simply spin this out, flip it over, lock it down, Install the barrel. Now it's secure. Turn that down so we don't get dust in it. And no conflicts, no problems. I think that's a pretty good setup. Very, very solid. These mounts are very excellent. This 2-gallon can is one of 4, I guess, that I have on here. So I've got a 2-gallon emergency one back there behind the rack. I've got 2 3-gallons stored up on top of the rack that I'll only add those. I'm just carrying those empty right now. But if we go on a long trip, I'll add that up. So that'll give me a total of 8 gallons. And then the 2 gallons of water here concurrently, or in addition to. So this is kind of cool here. I just noticed this. There's a freeze line. So if you can freeze these things, and they're small enough, being 2 gallons, that they're not too big and heavy. You could put them in pretty much any freezer. But if you fill it to that line, you could freeze it, and then when you're ready to go, you're going to have, as that melts through the day, you're going to have cold water. So I might try that. That's kind of a cool little deal I didn't notice. I'll tell you guys, I'm really pleased with that. That's a really good, clean setup that's no fuss and just is fabulous. That's going to work really good and secure. So what I'm thinking was, tell me what you think. What might be the best is I can stack another can on here, another 2-gallon. That will give us 4. These cans are about $40 or so. The valve assembly, I ordered it off Amazon. It was $24, which, as I said, I balked at that. I thought that was exceedingly expensive until I realized there was that stainless steel machine piece in there. Now I get it. I think it's, for what it is, I think it's reasonable. And somebody went to the trouble and effort to put it all together. That's totally worth it to me. It would have cost me way more in time and material to source that myself, if I could even find anything. But what I'm thinking what we'll do is order another 2-gallon and then sandwich that on here, and then that will be a total of 4. And that'd be pretty good for us. I guess you could always augment that by putting more on the top, but you know, we're not going out on any safari. I think that probably the 2-gallon would be enough for us. We're just kind of weekend people anyway. And I keep a water filter or a pump, like a backpacking, a heavy-duty one, in the toolbox, so we can stop at any stream or lake, and we could fill these up as well. So maybe one is enough, if I was going to be completely honest. Last thing I wanted to address, I've showed putting a lot of stuff on the back of the bike, and I got a ton of comments like, dude, you're overloading the truck. You're gonna be popping a wheelie down the road. You got to remember this, that's not a minivan. This is a 1-ton truck. When I had the 4-wheel drive put on, I upgraded the springs in the rear springs, as well as I put airbags. I forget the brand of them. Put the airbags in the back. I'm not overloading the truck. The e-bikes we put on the back, I put 3 of them on, and it worked really good yesterday when we went down, and I posted that on my Instagram. Folks were showing concern on that. The 3 e-bikes with the rack weigh less than my dirt bike. You didn't even know that they were there. So yeah, it's not overloaded. It's not a problem. Again, springs, airbags, 1-ton. I mean, I'm running a load range E tires, 1-ton tires. It's not overloaded. It's just fine. So you guys are worrying about it a lot more than I am, for sure. All right, yeah, everything's within spec too. Like just for example, like the bike rack that I was using for the e-bikes, all 3 e-bikes on there came out to, and I don't put the batteries in them, we keep the batteries on the inside, was 195 pounds for 3 bikes, plus the rack is 45 pounds. So that comes in way under the tow capacity or the tongue weight on that. So I think we should be fine. And you know those engineers, I mean, there's always a fudge factor, right? I don't know what it is, 20%? If you were going to design something and you knew people were, and you know your entire career, because this engineer has a stamp, right? How I understand it, when you graduate with a degree or certificate as an engineer, when you stamp something, when you sign off on something, that's your baby. If it be a bridge or a building or anything like that, you're basically saying, when I stamp this with my stamp, I am taking responsibility for this. So when they're designing hitches and trailer stuff like that, if it's a reputable company, you can guarantee that there's a little bit of fudge factor in there, because they know they're going to get guys like myself. They're going to just put more stuff on there than they're supposed to. So there's that too, in addition to it. Not that you should count on that, but just know if you get in a pinch. I think that's probably the way it is. I would, wouldn't you? You're going to just say, yep, that's absolutely the limit. We're not going to construct this or design this to take any more. Not 1 pound more. It's going to fail and fall off. I don't think so. All right. Thanks for watching. Jack is. I'm heading out here in about an hour. He's going to summer camp. It's his first big trip. We're dropping him off. He's taking a friend with him up to Big Lake, and they're doing a 5-day hardcore backpacking trip. So it was fun. We put everything together last night, got him all squared away, and this is his first really big trip. I've got him, I think he's about ready to pull the trigger. I've been taking him to Civil Air Patrol, and he's been enjoying that. So he's been twice, so that's something. We want to get him his pilot's license when he turns 16 or whenever he's old enough. I forget the time. And then he's going to Europe, so he's got a big summer. So we'll pick him up in a week, and then we'll take him immediately to the airport, and then he'll be in Europe, in Amsterdam with his first cousin, my brother-in-law and his family in Amsterdam for 2 weeks or so. So we're going to miss him. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.